So the Team USA under 19 training camp has been a very, very large topic of discussion now. Rob, I've actually never asked you this, but I'm a massive like Team USA U19 fan. I think the training camp is great. I think that you see a lot of the freshmen that are coming in have like big have big summers with the U19 team and then have really good freshman years. And also you see a lot of guys that are rising sophomores like make a name for themselves, maybe coming a little bit underrated, have a really good summer, have a really good sophomore year. So I'm a massive fan of it. I think it's a great thing to get all the players into one spot to compete for these spots. And obviously, you have some of the best talent in the country
Yeah.
in the gym for that. And Mark Pope is like an on-court assistant, so he's not on the staff, but basically he is. I guess the actual job title is on-court assistant. So like he's part of the evaluation process, but he won't actually go over to Switzerland with the team, with the staff for the U19 tournament. And Mark Pope is back in Lexington currently, but he had some things to say about his current future Wildcats in Jasper Johnson and Malachi Moreno, who said, honestly, said a lot of great things about them. But one of the things that stuck out to me is said that they were jaw-dropping great. Now that's Malachi Moreno being jaw-dropping great with the likes of Daniel Jacobson, Marez Johnson, Chris Sinak, the best center that's incoming in the class, Royce Parham, who's a rising sophomore at Marquette, and then you have Jasper Johnson, who, if I could list the guards that are on this USA team, you would just absolutely fall in love. I mean, you have the highest level talent
Yeah.
of guards. I absolutely love the guard pool on this team, but Mark Pope says that they were jaw-dropping great. Now, the first cuts went through, and unfortunately, Malachi Moreno did not make the cut. But Jasper
Yeah.
Johnson is one of the final 18 before they cut the roster to 12. But I guess I'll throw it to you, Ralph. What do you take from Mark Pope, basically co-signing his Kentucky guys in this one, saying that they were really, really good in this?
I think we're learning. We kind of have to parse through some of Mark Pope's enthusiasm and positivity in terms of what this actually means, right? Because you can say somebody who's jaw dropping great, jaw dropping great, probably aren't getting cut like Malachi Moreno was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So jaw dropping great in terms of what they can contribute to your team this year, what their potential looks like, or how they actually played there. I fully believe there were signs that from what both did, Jasper Johnson, Malachi Moreno, that made Pope very excited about what they can be, what they contribute this season. Right? Malachi Moreno, there were reports from different people who were there that he was inconsistent up and down, but had some flashes and showed why he was a highly rated prospect, but also kind of showed why he's not still there. Right? Which, if he's somebody you're relying on to come in and play an impact for you right away and be like a starter, that's a concern. But you look at who Kentucky has, you're looking at Malachi Moreno as like your fourth big guy in the rotation. So are there some flashes that you saw from your fourth big guy in your rotation that made you feel like that's jaw dropping awesome for the fourth guy in your rotation? Yeah, I'm sure that probably was the case because Malachi Moreno is incredibly talented, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Jasper Johnson, we had questions about where he kind of fits in the rotation, given the transfers that Kentucky brought in the backcourt and the fact that Take Owe is back. So I think the fact that he is still around through these cuts, given the other guards that you mentioned that are around, I think bodes really well. And I think Mark Pope is very excited about what his depth could be like this season, and also who we can build his team around next year. I think that's the jaw dropping part. Not that they were so good and awesome that they're like on the same level as AJ Banza.
This video is brought to you by NBA 2KLab.com. 2K Lab worked with us last summer as well. They're one of our favorite entities in all of sports gaming. We want to show you their college basketball stadium locator challenge game. And I'm going to share a screen right now as we do this. South Carolina, bang. Oh,
Ooh,
okay, that's pretty good. Next, North Carolina. Why are we only getting the Carolinas?
please
Bang.
lock in.
St. John's, that's New
New
York.
York.
Bang.
Where's New Jersey?
We're on fire. Colorado. I actually don't know what state Colorado is.
It's it's in Colorado. There's a state of
Is that
Colorado.
this one?
It's to the right of Phoenix.
Anyway, you get the picture. This game's really fun. They've got more games as well, like Guess the NBA Player, Mystery Fantasy Draft, and more. Stay tuned for all of the college football content and games that they'll be putting together to help you get the best experience out of college Football 26. Back to the video.
Right. And look, like, Mark Pope is, and you, I guess you're starting to learn about Mark Pope a little bit more and how he operates and how he talks about like his team and the University of Kentucky, and it's great, right? Like honestly, I think it's exactly what Kentucky fans want. It's exactly what they
Yep.
need, and I think it's going to lead to a lot of success for them. But this is how a coach should talk about his players, right? Like
Yeah.
he should be like instilling this in them and saying that had moments there, and saying that they were amongst the best players there, and you know in this situation, to me personally, there's not really like a lose-lose scenario. Like the worst
No.
part about this is, oh, Malachi Moreno got cut. Now he's going to be on campus in Lexington. Like now, the summer workouts are
Darn.
right now. Everything's ramping up. If you make the team, then that's great. You get that experience playing for the team. It's awesome. But for Malachi Moreno to go through this process and you know have the moments, have the flashes that he had, I think it's only gonna help Kentucky this season. And Malachi's been a talking point on this pod a little bit just because I guess the freshmen in
Yeah.
general for Kentucky kind of feel a little bit forgotten. It's like Jasper and Malachi were
Yeah.
higher ranked recruits, but like everyone's talking about the incoming guys, the transfers, and Ortega coming back, which is great. But you got to realize, and I think Mark Pope does too, that he's got something with these guys. It's just how fast he can get them to the point where they're contributing to this team.
Yeah, a couple of thoughts off this, but I think he's recognizing that these are guys who he are going to be his building blocks for next season, potentially the year after, right? And so there is this game coaches have to play now where you have to continue to massage egos, right? And convince people that you're on their side, even if you're not going to play as much as you may think this year. Because when Jasper and Malachi committed, it was like, oh, one, Mark Pope can go get these guys. But number two, these are who Kentucky's featured players are going to be next year, meaning like this coming up year. And now that's not the case because of the portal, but they're still going to play a role for you just off the bench. But you want to make sure those guys are around for next year and still have the good vibes going for next season, 2 seasons from now, when they are going to be a little bit more of your core, right?
Hmm.
There's also the aspect of this too, where I don't mean this in any negative connotation. I don't. But like Mark Pope, the way he talks about this and the way he's viewing this seems to be more of like the way a dad would view his son going to like Team USA camp,
Yeah, yeah.
as opposed to like an objective coach,
Hmm.
right? Because like my kid goes to Team USA and does all this stuff. Like you're getting awesome experience. You did really well. Those flashes you had were fantastic. Like you impressed me so much with how you did against the best players in this age group.
Hmm.
Right. You may not make the top 18 like Malachi didn't, but you did so well. And I there's some validation into what you did, and it's jaw dropping for me because I can't think about what that must have been like, and you succeeded and did well for yourself. I had a good showing. That's different than an objective coach being like, we could have seen a little bit more here, a little more consistency there. And so I think Pope was doing this from the standpoint of like he's these guys' biggest cheerleaders, which is part of the appeal going to play for Mark Pope, right? Is that you have the good vibes around Kentucky and the positivity. So I think it's important to also view it from Pope, probably viewing it from that standpoint, as in terms of jaw dropping great, meaning he thought they were some of the 5 or 10 best players there.
Right. I mean, this is Pope's sell on Kentucky. Like he has outwardly come out and said, like, I want part of the Kentucky lore to be like in 30 years, I want you to come back with your family and your kids and like come back to Rupp and like we're all a family and it's
Yeah,
Kentucky. And like that's part of the pull to it. But like you said, you just gotta take a little bit of grain of salt just because there is that little bit of like, grading on a curve with his own guys
yeah,
because there were other people in the gym. And they said that these guys did have good moments, but like there's other people that were in the gym too that said that Malachi Moreno was like the third, fourth best big that was there possibly, and that's not a slight because there were really good bigs there. But if they were that jaw dropping, maybe he would be there. There was also some concerns that he might have tweaked his ankle a little bit, so like they just kind of like sent him
yeah,
home with the tweak ankle. There's no need to push that, but all in all, I think that, this is just Mark Pope doing what he does, talking up his guys.
yeah.
And, I think there's a world where both those guys contribute. Honestly,
Oh, absolutely.
I'm very excited to see Jasper Johnson with Kentucky, to be honest with you.
I think the performance of Jasper Johnson in this is the biggest teller of all because it would be very easy for him to get swallowed up by Oweh coming back, Denzel Aberdeen coming on board, Jalen Lowe coming on board. And it seems like he's not going to be, which is a great sign for Kentucky and Kentucky's depth and also Kentucky's future.
Yeah. So for the people that are out there talking about Kentucky 1 through 15, 1 through 14 are the most talented team in the country, you might have a little bit more of a case with some of these words from Mark Pope. But it'll be interesting to see what these guys do. It'll be interesting to see if Jasper makes the final cut. And see if he's able to be a part of that Team USA team.